Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank my colleague officers and the staff of the House of Commons and our security officers and our own staff who have given us such tremendous support and service over the past 2 weeks. So on behalf of the 1922 Committee, Charles Walker and I, as returning officers for the election of the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party, can now declare the results of the fifth ballot. The total number of votes cast in today's ballot was 313. The total number of ballot papers rejected was 1. The total number of votes given to each candidate were as follows: Michael Gove, 75. Jeremy Hunt, 77. Boris Johnson, 160. We therefore declare that Jeremy Hunt and Boris Johnson are going forward to a vote of the qualifying membership of the Conservative and Unionist Party. Thank you very much.
Well, it's Jeremy Hunt. It's Jeremy Hunt by a whisker, a full turnout. All 313 MPs voted. One spoiled ballot paper, which is interesting. That's probably Rory Stewart. And amazingly, Jeremy Hunt is through by a margin of 2.
Extraordinary
tight stuff.
Result. It was always going to be neck and neck. Jeremy Hunt came third in the previous fourth round ballot, but this time round Michael Gove lost out by 2 votes. There was one spoilt ballot paper, but everybody, all 313 Conservative MPs voted. We now have the runoff that Boris Johnson wanted. His team will be happy. They did not want Michael Gove in that final 2. It would have been, they were predicting an absolute bloodbath. A 4-week campaign, Gove too unpredictable.
I mean, Gove is a brilliant debater. You know, we've seen that in the House of Commons and elsewhere. And he'd have gone for Boris, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. It would have been personal. It would have been vitriolic. You would have had not just the comments, and we heard the comment, didn't we, when Michael Gove launched his campaign about Boris Johnson's private life and don't pull out too early, Boris. that innuendo from Michael Gove. There'd have been all the briefings, all the sniping, all of going into Boris Johnson's record and pulling out parts from his time as Mayor of London, those 2 terms that he served as Mayor of London, his time in the Foreign Office. And that was what Boris Johnson's campaign didn't want. Much rather they'd face Jeremy Hunt, who's been, during this campaign, rather low energy. He's been seen and he's played the part of being the establishment.
Some would say throughout his career he's been quite low energy.
But he's played the part of the establishment.
I'm going to ask, Theo, I'm going to ask LBC listeners, texters, tweeters and callers the question, can Boris be beaten? And I have to say, I think with this result, the answer is no.
I think the only person who can beat Boris Johnson at this moment in time is Boris Johnson.
And I think that's always possible.
but that's always possible with Boris Johnson. It's always been possible with Boris Johnson. But I think if this gets to, I do not see a way that if this gets to an actual vote, so the votes, and I'm talking about Conservative members, there's 160,000 Conservative members.
Where does that come from, by the way? We were told 124,000 a few weeks ago.
Brandon Lewis just finally.
Where's this 160 appeared from?
Probably loads of former Conservatives who voted for the UK Independence Party who've come back to.
Oh, the blue wave, the Aaron Banks blue wave.
Yes. I mean, that's the obvious place to look. That's the obvious place to look, because they've come back because they know that they can influence this election. They've come back to have their say because they see Boris Johnson as the best way to get the Brexit that they voted for in 2016. And so, but my point is, if it gets to that, if we get to a stage where middle of July, week beginning the 22nd of July, those votes are counted up, they're totted up, there is, I don't know, I'm making huge predictions, but it's very difficult to see, given Jeremy Hunt's in the final 2, how you could end up with a result that isn't Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. But the danger is, of course, and it was always a greater danger if Michael Gove made the final 2, but the danger is, of course, that Boris Johnson implodes somewhere along the line. Excuse me, and that would be possible. That would be the only way.
Possible, but I would say unlikely. Theo, thank you. Folks, I think it's an absolute slam dunk. I think Boris now is going to sail to victory very, very comfortably. I just don't see Jeremy Hunt, perfect nice chap and all the rest of it, but I just do not see how he can wound Boris sufficiently. Michael Gove could have done. You know, ever since 1965, the favourite has never won this contest. And I remember really well, back in 2005, David Davis was such an odds-on favourite, the bookmakers had stopped taking money. But David Cameron left the lectern, walked onto the stage, spoke without notes, and the whole dynamic changed. I just do not see, in this case, how this can happen. But you tell me, can Boris be beaten? And if you think, no, as I do, he's going to waltz it, call 0345 6060 973. If you think no, Hunt will produce some amazing, extraordinary surprise, text to 84850 and tell me, do you think if Michael Gove had got through it would have been a very different game? I do. Please tweet using the hashtag Farage and LBC, at LBC, and of course, Facebookers watching us live. You can comment there too. Keith is calling from Henfield in West Sussex. So, Keith, it is Boris v Jeremy. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm pleased, I must say. I don't think Gove would have been a good candidate because of stupid thing he said about cocaine. I just still wonder what America would have made of a Prime Minister who is effectively a criminal not being allowed into their country.
So, Keith, was it stupid to admit that he'd taken cocaine? Is that what you're saying? Should he have lied?
To do that.
Should he have lied?
I am actually now a Conservative Party member.
Keith, are you saying it would have been wiser for Michael Gove to have lied?
No, I just don't think he should have done it, and I just don't think. I think with that sort of record, he wouldn't have been a good.
But hang on, Keith, hang on. No, and I will let you have your say, but hang on. Yeah. Boris Johnson took cocaine.
Yeah, and I don't think he should have done either. If you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have said Boris Johnson was a shoo-in. I am now seriously considering whether I will vote for Hunt, and I want to see what they have to say at the hustings. I've booked my place at a couple of the hustings.
Yep.
I want to hear what they have to say. I'm very keen that we do have a proper Brexit. The only time I've not voted Conservative in my life was when I voted for UKIP, when I met you a couple of times, actually,
right.
Campaigning. But apart from that, I've been a Conservative since 1963, and I'm one of these old people who belong to the Conservative Party who'll get a chance to vote. But I think Hunt could actually negotiate quite well. I think he will be committed to get to a Brexit. I don't think he's necessarily going to be the soft touch that people think he is. And I think Boris is going to make a few blunders. He's not answering questions honestly, and people don't like that.
So do you think, Keith, do you seriously think that Jeremy Hunt could beat Boris in this contest?
I think he could. Talking to people, I played golf this morning, talking to a lot of people at the golf club who would have been Boris supporters in the past. A lot of people are swinging.
Well, if Boris has lost the golf club, he's in real trouble. Keith, thank you for your comments and your call and your kind words. Rakia is a new caller from Chelsea. Good evening.
Yes, it's Rakia. I'm quite disappointed. I'm excited about Jeremy Hunt more than I am with Boris.
Right.
Mainly because, I believe Boris to be a political, he's just one of those political, he's an accident, basically, controversial.
Yeah. We've lost you. You've gone. All that passion and she's gone. Well, that doesn't matter. We'll go to Fife and speak to Connor, who's a new caller. Hi, Connor.
Hello, Nigel. I was going to speak to you before a long time ago, but remember that day Ian Dale had to fill in for you for a while.
Well, yeah, these things happen, dear boy. So,
Exactly.
Tell me, Connor, can Boris be beaten now? Wouldn't Gove...
Boris is going to win. He's going to win by a landslide. I think Hunt might have to drop out.
Hang on, you can't drop out of a race of two, can you? Really?
I think Hunt's just going to tell everyone either to vote for Boris. I think he's had it. And
don't be ludicrous, Connor. Come on.
Oh, no, he's going to get a very embarrassing result. He has no energy, nothing. He's a good debater, he's okay, but there's nothing there.
So do you think if Boris says, now look, Jeremy, you're on a very sticky wicket here. I'll keep you as Foreign Secretary if you drop out of the race. Do you think he'd...
Yeah, I think he could.
Come on, he's got more pride than that, surely.
No, I don't... Look, Jeremy Hunt is a negotiator, right? He knows when he's had it. I think... Do you honestly see any chance of him winning at all?
Well, I do. I'd put it at about 5 or 7%, something like that.
Yeah, And I don't think he wants that. I think he wants to keep his pride, and that is not going to keep his pride.
Yeah, but, once you're in a contest and it's the last two to be the Prime Minister, you're not going to drop out, are you?
There's a chance of it happening, but I think it could definitely happen.
All right, well, Connor, I love your energy and your enthusiasm and your persistence to get through to me as a new caller, but I think you're completely wrong. Hunt is not going to drop out. He's just going to lose. I honestly believe, folks, if Gove had got there, things might have been different. Jeremy Hunt, personable, nice chap that he is, he ain't going to beat Boris. If you think I'm wrong, call 0345 6060 973. You're listening to The Nigel Farage Show here on LBC. It's 6:15 and time for news headlines with Lisa Aziz.
Boris Johnson and Jeremy Hunt are the final two candidates in the Conservative leadership race. Michael Gove came third in the fifth ballot of Tory MPs, finishing 2 votes behind the Foreign Secretary. It will now be for members of the Tory party to decide who will become the next Prime Minister. Rain in the north and largely clear in the south tonight, a low of 4 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. There are queues on the M25 anti-clockwise. A lane's blocked because a car's broken down between junction 14 for Heathrow and junction 13 for Staines. On the North Circular Road, the southbound entry slip road at Ilford Hill stays closed because of an investigation, so there are delays. Also in Ilford Lane is closed both ways because of an accident between Winston Way and Rutland Road. On the A13, there were long queues heading out of town from the East India Dock Tunnel to Barking. That's because of a gas leak at Movers Lane. On the train, South Western Railway services continue to be disrupted because of a strike. There are no London Overground services between Liverpool Street and Hackney Downs, and there's no service on the Bakerloo line between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone.
This is LBC.
Feeling peckish? Introducing the Snack Geolocator Slingshot. Simply pull on your horn, open your window, and wait for the yummy goodness to find your exact location.
Oh dear, the Snack Geolocator Slingshot will never happen. But with a new BP Me Rewards card, getting more of the snacks you love more often will. Search BP Me Rewards to find out more. BP. Every day. Brighter.
This is LBC.
When you buy the award-winning Alfa Romeo Giulia or the Stelvio Performance SUV, you can pretend it's for the 5-year warranty, the 3 years free servicing, 5 years roadside assistance, or the 5 years 0% APR. But the real reason is, you just want an Alfa Romeo. Start something beautiful. Visit alfaromeo.co.uk.
5 years or 75,000 miles warranty. Minimum 35% customer deposit. 60 months term. HP sales until 30th of June 2019. T's and C's apply. Alfa Romeo Financial Services.
The 7 dwarves were in a bit of a pickle. With the mines closing down, their finances were somewhat fickle. They looked to downsize their home fast, so Snow White could make her debts a thing of the past.
Boys, the cottage is looking well rough.
So they spoke to the friendly team at Property Rescue, who buy properties in any condition and can offer a guaranteed sale in as little as 2 days, hassle-free. Fast forward to living happily ever after. Visit propertyrescue.co.uk. Property Rescue. Fast forward to sold.
In the middle of a job you just have to finish? Need something fast? B&Q 1 Hour Click and Collect will have it ready for you in store. Simply order online at DIY.com. You click it, we'll pick it, you collect it. Fast, easy and convenient click and collect. You can do it when you B&Q it. Selected products and locations, restrictions apply.
Swimsuit tick, sun cream tick, holiday money, big tick. Right, I'm off to pick up all the holiday bits from M&S.
What about the holiday money?
I'm picking that up from M&S too. They've got a new click and collect travel money service. It's just so easy.
I didn't know M&S did travel money.
Oh, there's a lot you don't know. Like how many outfits I've ordered. M&S Bank's new click and collect travel money service gives you our best exchange rates with preferential rates for M&S cardholders. Order online and collect in store. £250 minimum order. Terms and conditions apply. Search M&S Travel Money.
At the AA, we're always trying to make your journey better. Our mechanics fix 8 out of 10 cars at the roadside, usually within 30 minutes of arriving. You could say we're simply the best. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong song. Join today from just £4.50 a month. Visit theaa.com. The AA, because anything can happen. New customers only. T's and C's apply.
This is LBC, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
If you're just tuning in, we have had the final knockout round of the Conservative leadership contest, and Michael Gove got 75 votes in that round and Jeremy Hunt got 77, Boris 160. It is Boris versus Jeremy Hunt, and I'm asking you, can Boris be beaten? I don't think he can. I really don't. I know people say, well, Boris himself could trip over his own shoelaces or some terrible faux pas could emerge at any minute, all of which is, of course, entirely true, but I do not now think he can be beaten. Could Gove have beaten him? Well, I tell you what, he'd have given him a hell of a run for his money. That is my view. I hope Boris will become the leader. I'm not keen on Jeremy Hunt, says Cathy in Southampton. Well, that's just, Cathy, that's an opinion, but, game over. Boris will win. He has the rank and file members behind him. He now has to put the EU on notice, says James in Merseyside. James, there are two clean different things here. One is winning. The other is delivering Brexit, and that could be a much more difficult thing, I think, than winning. Just heard the runoff result. Ordered an air raid siren, £55 from Amazon. All the best, Trelawney and Ascot. Nigel, I hope Boris does win. I don't like the guy, but I'm a leaver. He'll soon realise, of course, that being PM in these times, he's got to teach Europe a lesson. Well, I tell you what, Jason, his big problem is this. He becomes Prime Minister, we think, and we assume, on the 22nd of July. By which time, the Euro bosses are on the beaches of southern France. There is nobody in Brussels to even talk to. When they come back on the 1st of September, there are a whole series of hearings to replace them with a new commission that begins on the 1st of November. I'm going to tell you this, folks. There will be no change to that treaty agreed between Mrs May and Michel Barnier between now and the 31st of October. And that gives Boris a problem. At least I think it does. But that's later. The question is, for now, can Boris be beaten? I say no, he can't. Angel is a new caller from Twickenham. Good evening.
Good evening, Nigel. How are you?
Welcome. Yeah, I did predict last night that Hunt would win, but I wasn't so sure in the last few minutes, and it was close, wasn't it?
Well, I assumed he would, but purely because of the whole sort of tactical voting aspect to it, I do think that might have come into it somewhat.
Well, look, now, Angel, everybody said there'll be huge tactical voting, and what Boris's voters will do is they will vote for Hunt because he can't face Gove on the public platform. But just look at the numbers, Angel, and let me ask you.
It's only 2, isn't it? So I mean...
Well, hang on. This morning, Boris got 157. OK? Jarvid was eliminated with 34. This evening, Boris got 160.
Yeah.
Now, had Boris's vote gone from 157 to 140 and had Hunt won, people would have said it's gerrymandering. Boris is a rotter. But I don't think with these numbers you can say that, really.
Well, I mean, it's all speculative, I suppose. But my point being is, to answer the original question, no, I don't think he's stoppable, but I don't think he has been from the beginning. Because he was always, let's face it, going to get onto the final ballot. And I think, we have to face reality in the sense of once it goes to the members, we know for a fact he's very popular amongst the members. So even if he was up against Gove, in my view, maybe he'd win by slightly less, but he'd still win.
Well, Angel, that's fine, but I remember back in... I'm probably quite a lot older than you, and I remember back in 2005, David Davis was the darling of the Tory party base.
Believe it or not, I do actually remember that era.
You do?
I do, yeah. So, yes, I know that before... I know that there's been obviously a trend that the front runner doesn't get through, and that, or certainly not necessarily. But, it's much like you say, times have changed. Things are a lot more volatile. And so I sort of knew this all along. At this point, I don't think that there's any other option other than Boris Johnson Prime Minister. And by the way, my personal view is I couldn't think of anything worse. But, if it's pretty obvious that that's the way that we're...
And Angel, just quickly tell me, why can you not think of anything worse?
Well, he's thoroughly incompetent. He which is proven. That's not a matter of my opinion. That's kind of record, really. He contradicts himself constantly, and I personally do think he's been masquerading as a Brexiteer the entire time anyway. I think that anything that is sort of, basically anything which would boost himself, he'll go with. Anything to promote his career, he'll go with. I don't think he has any integrity whatsoever, and is incompetent to boot. So obviously it's the worst of both worlds.
Okay, well, Adrian, you've made the anti-Boris case very, very well. Thank you for the call. But there are many out there who will be cheering, who will be saying Boris all the way. I met some a couple of nights ago. They believe he's going to be the saviour of the nation. Many believe the modern-day Churchill. What does Ben from Bristol, a regular caller, make of that? Good evening, Ben.
Oh, hi, Nigel. Greetings from Babylon.
Hello.
I can't get... It's just... I've never felt so alive, so fascinated. Have you, Nigel, by everything that's going on? It's just so compelling, isn't it? Just from beginning to end.
Well, actually, Ben, I think this is just the beginning of what's going to be the most compelling phase.
It's incredible. But you know what, Nigel? My point was... I mean, I tried to get in yesterday. I felt the moment Rory was gone, Boris had... He's won. He might as well... They should just coronate him. The only guy who could beat him was Rory Stewart. I mean, none of these others, they're not different enough. They won't get near him. It's a complete waste of time. My big point is this. Why have we now got, what is it, something ridiculous? Like, it's not until 20th of July?
22nd of July, we're told,
I mean, desperate times, desperate measures. This has got to be done in the next 7 days.
Well, it won't be. It won't be. It won't be.
No, but it has to be.
It won't be.
Nigel, it has to be.
But it won't be.
Tory rules. We've just had, by the way, most of the best candidates got knocked out because of their ridiculous rules about the MPs voting it in. I mean, how we're not seeing Leadsom in the final. I've spoken to every Tory voter who's a member I've spoken to has told me, and I'm starting to fight, they would have voted for Leadsom, by the way.
Ben, I'm sorry, with respect, 5 out of 160,000 is not necessarily a representative sample, is it?
Their system is so skewed, but these are dramatic times. But you know what? I've got a bit of faith in Boris. You know, I think he's going to come through this, and you know, you got to look. That team around him is looking good, isn't it? Mogg, Priti Patel, Leadsom, Dominic Raab, they're all, I mean, all the best guys.
Do you mean, I tell you what, with the exception of Priti Patel, all of them, having condemned the new European treaty,
I know.
all then collapsed and voted for it because they put party before country. Doesn't look that good to me, Ben.
I think, look, Nigel, it's not perfect, but they're human.
Not perfect?
They panic.
Hang on, no. If you condemn something as reducing us to a slave state and then vote for it, don't tell me it's not perfect. Not perfect. It's pathetic.
I know it's not a good deal, but look, they've learnt their lesson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to give them a chance now. Let's get positive and get behind Boris.
I tell you what I'll do. I tell you what I'll do. As and when he wins, and is announced on the 22nd of July, I will wish him. No, I'm listening to what you say to me. I will wish him all the best in achieving his key campaign pledge of getting us out on the 31st of October. But if he doesn't, I will fight him to the end. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds fantastic. Remember that dream I told you about, Nigel? You standing up to the people and having the right agenda. Look, if he gets it wrong and he screws it up, the Brexit Party will come into play. But the fact that you're there with the Brexit Party hovering over this, it will put extra pressure on him. And by the way, Nigel, I can't resist it. Do you know what I did 3.5 months ago?
Don't confess on air, please.
Little trip down Ladbrokes, mate. And I actually put money, at the time, I thought David Davis would stand. I put 20 quid on David Davis. That's gone. I put a tenner on Boris.
Did you?
I got a tenner on Boris.
So you did 20 quid on David Davis.
The odds back then were pretty good.
And what price did you get on Boris?
I think it was about 14 to 1.
Did you? Your quid's in,
I'll
Ben.
be having a little meal out on
your quid's in, Ben. Of course,
God bless you, Nigel.
LBC does not encourage gambling, although I, personally don't mind the odd bet. We don't encourage it, but Ben, well done. Have a fun night out on the proceeds. Thank you. Off to Loughton to speak to Richard, a new caller.
I also need Annabelle to sign all those forms as a new client.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
Hello? No, Richard, I don't know who he was, what he was doing. Barry says to me, I think once Boris is installed as PM, I think he'll tear up May's deal and take us out on WTO rules. Barry, if I believe that, I would stand and cheer, but it's not going to happen, Barry. I'll tell you what, I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I just do not believe it. James on Facebook says, Boris can neither deliver no deal nor this deal. I fear the split vote between Tory and Brexit will force Corbyn upon us. Well, James, it all depends what direction Boris takes. Is he a true Brexiteer? He keeps saying we'll leave on the 31st of October. And if we do, I have no doubt the empty plinth in Trafalgar Square, next to this studio, will be filled by a huge statue of Boris Johnson. But if he doesn't, it could be the end of him and the Conservative Party. That's what I think. But for now, you tell me, can Hunt beat Boris? I doubt it. You're listening to The Nigel Farage Show here on LBC at 6:30 in time for the news with Thomas Watts.
Jeremy Hunt will take on Boris Johnson in the race to become Conservative leader. Michael Gove was eliminated from the contest by just 2 votes in a 5th round of voting by Tory MPs this evening. Around 160,000 Conservative members will now select the next Prime Minister. A number of hustings will take place across the country before the announcement of the final outcome in late July. LBC weather, more rain in Scotland tonight, some isolated showers in Northern Ireland and the northwest of England, clearer spells elsewhere with a low of 4 degrees.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Weekday mornings from 7. LBC.
That appalling, shambolic debate they put together a couple of nights ago would seem to do anything to block Boris. Let's bring into the conversation a man who served, of course, as Brexit Secretary, David Davis.
It's become the Boris bashing corporation at the moment. They hate Brexit so much. I mean, it's right through the BBC like through a stick of rock.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
With Xero, get your business digital ready with Xero accounting software.
LBC.
Does it matter to you how your money's invested? Think about it. You've got your own values, but do the people who invest your money share them? With a Wealthify stocks and shares ISA, you can put your money into an ethical plan. Just tell us how you want to invest. Are you cautious, adventurous, or somewhere in between? And start your Wealthify ethical ISA today. Easy. For more information, download the app or visit wealthify.com. With investing, capital is at risk and you could get back less than you put in.
With my new teeth, I feel confident that I can eat absolutely anything I want to eat. French bread, steak.
At Darwood & Tanner, we use our expertise in dental implants to change lives.
It makes a huge difference in confidence when you can open your mouth and smile and laugh out loud with your mouth open without displaying huge amounts of grey, black or missing teeth.
Download your information pack at darwoodandtanner.co.uk today. Your smile is our healthy obsession.
When you buy the award-winning Alfa Romeo Giulia or the Stelvio Performance SUV, you can pretend it's for the 5-year warranty, the 3 years free servicing, 5 years roadside assistance, or the 5 years 0% APR. But the real reason is, you just want an Alfa Romeo. Start something beautiful. Visit alfaromeo.co.uk.
5 years or 75,000 miles warranty. Minimum 35% customer deposit. 60 months term. HP sales until 30th of June 2019. T's and C's apply. Alfa Romeo Financial Services.
Need to get your chocolate fix like now? Simply press the dashboard chocolate button to zap the chocolate of your choice right into your hand.
A dashboard chocolate button chocolate teleporter will never happen. But with a new BP Me Rewards card, getting more of the treats you love more often will. Search BP Me Rewards to find out more. BP. Every day. Brighter.
So, Mark told me about Hiring Hub. The best kept secret in recruitment, he said.
Yeah?
They help you find quality candidates and fill professional jobs fast. Gets great reviews too.
So, you're going to go for it?
Is he single?
Not with Mark, with Hiring Hub.
I posted an IT job a few days ago. Interviewing 4 people tomorrow.
Want to fill professional jobs faster? Search Hiring Hub and post your job today.
Is he though? Single?
Rosa.
At
the AA, we're always trying to make your journey better. Our mechanics fix 8 out of 10 cars at the roadside, usually within 30 minutes of arriving. You could say we're simply the best. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong song. Join today from just £4.50 a month. Visit theaa.com. The AA, because anything can happen. New customers only. T's and C's apply.
Leading Britain's conversation. The Nigel Farage Show. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag #FarageOnLBC.
So Sajid Javid dropped out this morning. He got 34 votes, an increase on 1 from last night's round. He then dropped out. Only 3 of those votes went to Boris Johnson. The rest went to Jeremy Hunt and Michael Gove. And Jeremy Hunt has beaten Michael Gove by a margin of 2 votes. So it is Boris Johnson versus Jeremy Hunt. Can Boris be beaten? I don't think so. Sean in Bicester is up for this. He says, please let Boris be PM. I can't wait. Really exciting times. I believe Boris will win comfortably. I'm more worried that the negotiations will be paralysed for a further month because we need to be out by the 31st of October. Tony in Norfolk, we are supposed to be out by the 31st of October. Boris says we will be, but really, really will be, and that's going to be the tough bit. Nicky is calling from Dorchester. Good evening, Nicky.
Oh, good evening, Nigel. Well, going on I supported Jeremy Hunt 2.5 weeks ago.
Yep.
Now, if there's a slim chance, and I say slim, of doing a deal, leaving the EU, obviously, which I voted for, but if there's a slim chance, I think Jeremy Hunt may achieve that. Now, with Boris Johnson, and listening to David Davis this morning on Nick's show, regardless, he's going to leave on the 31st of October.
Well, that's what he says, Nicky, yeah.
Now, what I'm afraid of is leaving with no deal could lead to a breakup of the UK, and then I can't see the point of having a Brexit.
Right. So are you suggesting that if Jeremy Hunt says, I'll delay this a further 6 months to get the right deal...
No, I didn't say that. No,
well, I'm just asking.
No, he hasn't. I don't think Jeremy Hunt suggested that, has he?
Well, he has actually. Jeremy Hunt has said... Jeremy Hunt has said that the 31st of October need not be an absolutely hard deadline, and if a little bit more time is needed, we should use it. Now, I put 6 months in. That was my hypothesis, but Hunt has said he could slip the date a bit further.
Well, I'd prefer Jeremy Hunt if he can achieve, it may be slim, but with Boris Johnson, I've got no, faith, trust, and if we leave without a deal, it'll mean the breakup of the UK.
Well, it may not do that, but who knows, Nicky? Nicky, let me put a point to you. This Sunday is the 3rd anniversary of the greatest democratic exercise in the history of our nation. And despite the Chancellor, the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, Goldman Sachs, Uncle Tom Cobley and all, President Obama, all telling us we'd finish up living in caves wearing sackcloth, we voted to leave. And 3 years on, we haven't left. And now you and I are having a talk about extending the next date we're supposed to leave.
No,
it's not really good enough, is it?
No, I didn't say that. What now? The other night, I suggested when they had that meeting the other night, they hardly talked about what the world trade deals we could achieve on leaving. They didn't talk about that at all. And I rang up Nick, and when was it, Tuesday, and mentioned that. I mean, the world trade deals are there for the taking as far as I'm concerned.
Of course they are. But, Nicky, I'm going to get back to this point. You know, we were told we'd leave on the 29th of March. The Prime Minister told us 108 times. Then she told us, oh, it's okay. It's all right. We're leaving on the 12th of April. Then she told us, well, it's been a bit tricky, really, but we will certainly be out by the 30th of June. and now we're told it's the 31st of October. I mean, more dates than a child's advent calendar. And we can't go on. Nikki, I'm putting this to you. We can't go on kicking the can down the road.
No, I agree. But if the risk is, to me, a breakup of the UK, and we can forget world trade deals. But Northern Ireland will become part of...
says who?
Says part of your Northern Ireland.
What says Nikki in Dorchester? Just because you say it doesn't mean it'll happen, does it?
Well, with Boris Johnson, I think it may well.
How?
Well, he said 31st of October, regardless, we'll leave. And that may mean with no deal.
Good. Great. Hurrah! We'll be free. No more Barnier. We'll save 39 billion. I mean, I'm going to pop a cork in a minute, Nikki.
Sorry. That'll be great when you'll only have England and Wales in the UK. With Northern Ireland and Scotland going independent.
Independent? Great, how's Scotland going independent? That Sturgeon woman wants to be governed by Mr. Juncker.
Well, we'll see.
Listen, I understand you've got a concern on this, but there's no certainty whatsoever, Nikki, is there, that leaving on a clean break, proper British Brexit means Scotland leaves the UK?
Well, what I'm concerned about is it'll mean a breakup of the UK.
Okay, you're concerned about it, but you don't know the future any more than anybody else does, do you?
No, right, yeah.
All right, no, Nikki, look, I tell you what, you've made the point, made it very clearly. I get your concern. I thank you very much indeed for your call. Richard in Loughton is a new caller to this show. Good evening, Richard.
Good evening. I'm a card-carrying member of the Conservative Party.
That sounds like a confession. It shouldn't be, really.
I've also read Boris Johnson's very amusing book about Winston Churchill.
So have I.
I ought to say that I had the high honour of being one of the researchers and proofreaders of Andrew Roberts' book about Churchill, and that is much more scholarly and
Richard,
well-researched.
can I just say to you...
Yes?
...that you are, having said that to me, a little bit of a hero of mine, because I actually went to Andrew Roberts' house to get a copy of that Churchill book. I bought 2 copies, one for me, one for my father, my elderly father's birthday, and I have to say, I've read all 980 whatever pages of it is. It is the most incredible book on Churchill's life, and if you worked on that, I take my hat off to you.
Yes, it was. I've had a great time over the last 2 years. I'm 63 years old, so I'm old enough to remember the 1975 referendum. I don't really hear you talk very much about that now.
Because I was 11.
I know you were.
I'm sorry, it's not my fault, Richard, is it?
The point I want to make is this, that I want to vote for a Conservative candidate who respects the 17 million. Now, there was a 17 million who voted for Brexit in 2016, but there was also a 17 million who voted to remain in what was then the common market in 1975. And just listen to what a previous Conservative leader said, Margaret Thatcher, in that 1975 referendum.
Yep.
The choice is clear. We can play a role in developing Europe, or we can turn our backs. By turning our backs, we would forfeit our right to influence what happens. But what happens will inevitably affect us. So all I'm saying is, I'm not asking for another referendum. I voted for Remain, but I respect the vote. But I listened to ex-Chancellor Osborne on the radio the other night, and I think he encapsulated my views that while it's right now to say that we must leave the European Union as a political union, we still have to respect what the British public voted for in a referendum. 17 million people voted for them for some kind of trading relationship.
No, Richard.
What we had with the EEC.
Let me take you back to 1975, all right? And you're quite right. Given that I was 11, I don't debate it much on the radio, all right? But I do understand the parameters upon which it was fought. Mrs. Thatcher's argument that we should stay part of it to retain influence, and I quote you from a few seconds ago, 40 years on from that, we realised we had precious little influence. Every attempt we made to decentralise, to debureaucratise, failed. We lost at every single twist and turn. We paid in hundreds of billions of pounds to be regulated by a group of institutions and overseen by a foreign court who then sold us hundreds of billions of pounds worth of goods more than we sold them. It was a completely rotten deal. Do you understand, Richard, why we voted to end it?
Yes, and I think trade is the prime aspect of what the referendum was all about, and sovereignty as well, of course. Let's just go back to the dates for a moment, because you seem to be very exercised about the dates.
No, you are. I was 11, Richard. You're exercised, not me.
About it with the previous caller. All right, let me just draw another Churchillian comparison.
Go on then. What? A brief one, Richard. A brief one.
Stalin wanted D-Day in 1941, 1942.
He did.
Roosevelt wanted it in 1943, but Churchill put it off to 1944. What I infer from all of this is that it's not the date that matters so much, but it's when the time is right. When the time is right.
OK. Richard, I get it. You've made some great points. And the time is right on the 31st of October, 2019. That's the end of it. We must leave. You're listening to The Nigel Farage Show here on LBC at 6:45 and time for the news headlines with Thomas Watts.
Jeremy Hunt and Boris Johnson are the final two in the Conservative leadership race. Michael Gove came third in the fifth ballot of Tory MPs, finishing just 2 votes behind the Foreign Secretary. It will now be for members of the Tory party to decide who will become the next Prime Minister. Some rain in the north tonight, largely clear further south, a low of 4 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. It's very slow on the M25 anti-clockwise from junction 8 for Reigate to junction 6 for Godstone after an accident earlier on. There are delays on the North Circular Road. The southbound entry slip road at Ilford Hill stays closed because of an investigation. On the A13, there are long queues heading out of town from the East India Dock Tunnel to Barking. That's because of a gas leak at Movers Lane. It's very slow in South Kensington. The A4 Cromwell Road is now blocked both ways because of a demonstration at Exhibition Road. On the train, South Western Railway services continue to be disrupted because of a strike. There's no London Overground between Liverpool Street and Hackney Downs, and on the Tube, there's no service on the Bakerloo line between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone.
This is LBC.
Clearance at John Lewis and Partners Oxford Street is now on. There are thousands of great offers from kitchen and homeware to fashion and beauty, as well as expert advice from our partners and a minimum 2-year guarantee on all our electricals. More of what you love for less. Clearance now on.
Is your money working as hard as you do? Think about it. While you're grafting away, is your money working too? No? Then it's time to Wealthify. Wealthify is the smart, easy way to start investing. Just say how you want to invest. Cautious? Adventurous? Somewhere in between? And let Wealthify do the rest. Then keep track of your money on the app. Easy. Isn't it time for you to Wealthify? Download the app or visit wealthify.com. With investing, capital is at risk and you could get back less than you put in.
Imagine, if you can, days that get longer by the minute and warmer by the mile. Imagine, if you can, a horizon that falls further away the closer you draw to it. Now consider looking up. Picture the rotation of a cloudless, infinite sky. And as the sun slinks away into the sea, that same sky becoming bejeweled with stars. Now, turn up the music and dance until dawn. Sail beyond your imagination. The Transatlantic Crossing by Cunard. Discover more at cunard.com. ABTA and Atoll protected.
Love your skin. Love your hair. Love your nails. Perfectil delivers nutritional support from within, including zinc, to help you maintain normal skin, hair and nails. Perfectil, the science of beauty, from Vitabiotics, the UK's #1 vitamin company. From Boots, pharmacies and vitabiotics.com.
The great British weather. One day you're cozying in with the family, the next you're chilling out in the garden. But whatever you're doing, Trusted Trader are always on hand to help. TrustedTrader.com have lots of really lovely tradespeople who are vetted, reviewed and reliable, unlike the weather. So for roofers who stop the rain coming in, gardeners for when the sun comes out, and other professionals in their trade, simply visit
When you buy the award-winning Alfa Romeo Giulia, or the Stelvio Performance SUV, you can pretend it's for the 5-year warranty, the 3 years free servicing, 5 years roadside assistance, or the 5 years 0% APR. But the real reason is, you just want an Alfa Romeo. Start something beautiful. Visit alfaromeo.co.uk.
5 years or 75,000 miles warranty. Minimum 35% customer deposit. 60 months term. HP sales until 30th of June 2019. T's and C's apply. Alfa Romeo Financial Services.
You can complain free to your lender or the Financial Ombudsman about missold PPI. Alternatively, if you haven't got the time or the inclination, then just get the claims guys to manage the claims process for you. With the August 29th deadline approaching, time's at a premium anyway. So if you can't find your paperwork or you're not even sure you have PPI, it's definitely time to make a decision and start your PPI claim before it's too late. Text ANSWER to 66777. Text ANSWER to 66777 now.
The Claims Guys.
The Nigel Farage Show on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It's Johnson v Hunt. We're going to have hustings all over the country, somewhere between 12 and 16 of them, and then on the 22nd of July we will know the next Prime Minister. I'm asking, can Boris be beaten? I doubt that he can. But in this moment of great excitement, somebody who just wants to depress us and drag us down is Eeyore, the Chancellor. Yes, absolutely. Philip Hammond is giving the annual Mansion House speech tonight, and he intends to tell us that it's all very difficult. The Irish backstop question will not go away. The parliamentary arithmetic will not change. The immutable truths are that Brexit over the coming months is going to be a difficult problem to sort out, and we should all be very, very depressed and very down because there's nothing that can be done. Goodness, whoever wins, please sack Philip Hammond. Get rid of all these awful, ghastly, negative people. We want people who believe they can actually make Britain a great country again. That's my view. If you think I'm wrong, call 0345 6060 973. Brenda is a new caller from St Ives in Cambridgeshire. Brenda, is it Boris all the way?
I'm afraid it looks like that, Nigel, and I'm absolutely devastated. I can't bear the man in any shape or form.
Really?
I've never liked him.
I thought he was popular, Brenda. I thought people liked him.
He lacks integrity, he lacks honesty, he lacks trustworthiness. Everything that's right is wrong with Boris Johnson. And I'd just like to mention, Sheila Fogarty mentioned a word this morning at lunchtime, cockalorum, and I'm very interested in words and the language, and the definition is a very self-important man who brags and crows, and I think that says what Boris Johnson
Brenda, do you think that anybody could ever stand to be Prime Minister without actually having a slightly brigadier exterior?
Sorry, say that again?
Could anybody stand as Prime Minister without having the ability to brag, to push their chest out ever so slightly, to be even mildly egotistical? Wouldn't it be impossible to even stand for the job unless some of that was within you?
No, I don't. I don't think we need somebody like that. He's just full of his own importance. We want somebody a bit like Rory Stewart, who I just done for all along.
And he wasn't full of his own self-importance?
No, I think the thing that really impressed me with him was that he actually held out an olive branch to you, didn't he, last Sunday morning?
He did. Look, Brenda, he fought a very energetic, entertaining campaign. But my goodness me, in terms of self-confidence, without much backing it, he had loads of it, didn't he?
Well, self-confidence is very different from boasting and somebody with self-importance, and that's Boris Johnson. He's only interested in where he's going in his career. And the debate, the BBC debate, was absolutely atrocious. I mean, he looked down all the time. He didn't speak very much, and what he did say, he just waffled. If he's going to meet with 27 people from the 27 countries, Well, I just live in awe. I just think.
But
it's
I bet, Brenda,
unbelievable.
I bet you're not a Tory party member, are you?
No, I'm not at all. I voted for you in the MEP election.
Okay, so you're a Brexiteer that can't stand Boris. Yeah,
No.
well, okay. Brenda, he's going to win, you know.
But I think, actually, Nigel, because he's such a, full of himself, what did they say? How the mighty fall. And I think he'll come crashing down because I can't see that he's going to get this through on the 31st of October.
But he's told us he will, Brenda.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we can also... Mrs May said March the 29th, 108
I know. And do you know what, Brenda? I agree with you. Actually, I think, and I really hope I'm wrong, I think Boris is going to be a disaster on this. I can't see him delivering. I agree with you. Brenda, you're a star. Great call. Thank you. I'm off to Scotland, to Fife, to speak to Niall, who's a new caller.
Hello, Nigel. How are you?
Hello there. I'm very well indeed.
It's a pleasure to speak to you. Pleasure
to speak to you. So, how does the old Etonian Boris Johnson go down in Fife?
Right. So, it doesn't go down well at all. In fact, there's a really, really bad taste for Boris up in Scotland, right? I don't understand it. I think he's the guy to deliver Brexit. I think he's the guy he's going to get it done. It's a weird environment up in Scotland now with Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP clamouring to stay in Europe while the rest of the countries try to leave. It's a bit of a pickle, to be fair. And Nicola Sturgeon's gone further left than Mao. I just don't understand what's going on.
Well, Scotland did vote to remain, but 40% still voted to leave. And things could change up there, couldn't they?
Well, so I voted for independence back in 2014, right? But now it's like a fake independence. It's not really independent if you're tied to Europe, is it?
Well, now the fact the word independence was even able to be used in that referendum was a complete breach of the Trade Description Act. No, I agree with you. Now, do you feel, as a Boris supporter in Scotland, you're in a very, very, very small category?
It feels like I'm 10 to 1. Like, seriously, it's like 1 versus 10. There must be a growing camp or a growing fervour of actual independence.
Do you think that Boris will be a good PM?
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, good man. Thank you very much indeed. Well, now there, in a minority, north of the border, fighting for Boris all the way. I've got time for one more call. I'm going to go to Anne in Norwich. Anne, let me ask you, is it possible at all that Jeremy Hunt could give Boris Johnson a run for his money?
I think it's unlikely. I actually wouldn't mind which one of them won for different reasons, but I don't think Jeremy Hunt has got enough personality to make the papers and I actually think Boris's gaffes actually helped, really. I was in London when he was Mayor of London, did a fantastic job because he had people around him who kept him on track and actually did a good job, and he'll do that in number 10 if he gets there. I'm more bothered that we're being stitched up by the EU, because who chose the 31st of October if they're all on holiday or sitting around chatting about who's going to replace them?
Oh, it was genius, wasn't it? I mean, aren't they good? Aren't they? Do you know, Anne, the last time I saw Michel Barnier, before the whole thing broke for the summer, he was in the coffee room, and I went up and said hello. He's always very polite. Very, very proper and very polite. He got up, shook my hand, asked me how I was. And I said, Michelle, I wish you were on our side, because he's a really clever negotiator. And you're quite right. But you're quite right.
They hate us. I mean, they absolutely hate us. And I think, I don't have a problem if it's 2 or 3 days more. But Boris on BBC didn't say he'd do the 31st. It was only Savage Javid who actually agreed to the 31st of October. But what we need is people like all you MEPs who I did actually vote for, Tim Price, getting on our side in the EU, because we all want Brexit. We can fight about who's in the top of the party after it's over and we have another election and the EU win or Tories win, or hopefully not the other mob. Then we can worry about it. But I think at this stage, all the people who want leave need to come together. We need to remind the people in the Labour Party whose constituents voted leave to back the leave vote in Parliament and not go along like sheep with Jeremy Corbyn. And so we get it over the line. We've all got to unite, forget the party politics, get on with it.
And if we all got behind Boris and gave him our support, What percentage chance do you think there is of him getting us out by the 31st of October?
Well, he won't if all this lot are on holiday and chatting about who's...
There's no chance,
and yet... Barney and Jungle. That's not Boris's fault, is it? But if it has to go another couple of days, it does. And he didn't agree to it on the BBC. Only Savage Jarvid did.
He keeps changing his mind, Anne. Thank you very much indeed. Well, it's Boris v Hunt. I'm going to be back on Sunday morning. At 10 tonight, Ian Payne is in for Thomas Warbrick. But up next, it's Ian Dale.
Nigel, thank you very much indeed. Well, I was going to ask the question tonight, who would make the best Prime Minister, Jeremy Hunt or Boris Johnson? But Alistair Campbell informs me that's grammatically incorrect, and I should be asking who would make the better Prime Minister. I'd need him as my sub-editor if I'm writing a book, don't I, really? But he is actually right for once, so I will admit that. So that's what we're going to be asking you between 8 and 10. We're not going to have a single guest on between 8 and 10. I always say that, and then we actually do, but we're not tonight. But in the news hour, lots of other news going on, particularly Iran downing an American drone in the Persian